All right, so early morning, 6 in the morning actually. But I got some energy, so I'm gonna talk about something that actually does relate to my past relationships, and it's essentially gonna be about commitment. How do you know whether or not that man is committed? Because what I've learned dealing with ladies, because I deal with women exclusively in a sexual manner, that is. I do not date men, so I'm not familiar with that. But as a man dealing with women, one of the things I will note is oftentimes women, in a way to insult men, they say the whole "who hurt you" thing. You're hurt. You got mommy issues, that type of thing. But what they don't talk about is how the hell do they even know if that man is actually committed to them or not? Like how do they actually know? And then it dawned on me, they don't give a shit. Therefore, they don't know. So I'm just going to voice some of the signs that I was giving out looking back at my younger self. How do you tell if he's committed? This is a crossover. Let's get to it.
Put some respect on my name. You understand me? When y'all saying my name, put some respect on it.
So hopefully my stuff isn't going to be trimmed too badly. Meaning, if I get cut off, it's the people. But I wanted to go over some things. I separated them between positive and negative. And I don't mean positive and negative as in good or bad, but I mean positive as in this is an attribute that is part of him, and negative as in this is an attribute that he is void of, or he doesn't have, or repels. So, in a way, you think of it like that. So, positive and negative. Now, they all blend together because remember, this is all in one person. So, there will be acts and feats, and I'll go over some of those acts and feats. Actually, I will use some of the personal situations in my past relationships. So as I talk about these, it's not like, oh, this one thing shows he had that quality and this other thing showed he had that other quality. No, they all blend together. So there will be like an amalgamation of all of this together. That's how it is. It's all or nothing. It's kind of like the what is it, endocrine system, your body. Um, when your body releases hormones, it's all or nothing. It goes all over your body, or it doesn't release anything at all. Like that's just how it is. Me personally, I think that's a little bit inefficient, but it's quick and it's effective. That's how it works. So some of the positives, mind you, this is just going straight off of just my thoughts and everything like that. So this will change most likely in the future as I learn more, as I get more information, even as I dive back into my own past and learn more about myself as well. But I'm gonna go over the positives and the negatives, and I'm just gonna give examples in my relationship. Um, so attentiveness, attention to detail. These are some of the positives. A progressive mindset. Word is bond, right? Word is bond. I say what I do, I say what I mean, and I mean what I say. That's what that one means. Word is bond. Those are the only positives for now. I'll probably add some more as I keep going on and it pops into my head. But in addition to that, you have the negatives. So here are some negatives. Don't lie / make excuses. So don't lie, don't make excuses, right? The next one is don't tolerate disrespect. I'll also put in that coupled with that disrespect, don't tolerate incompetence as well. But don't tolerate disrespect. And that can come in many forms. Yes, we tolerate a bit, but what I will say is when you make it very clear that you're just straight up disrespecting us, like there's that thing that women do where they're indirect with it. Okay, like he's like, okay, did she just say that to disrespect me intentionally, or So there are those situations, and what we kind of adjust and like, okay, was that for real, or was that you know by mistake, and oftentimes like myself, I'll I'll go back onto that just to make sure. Okay, was that a mistake right there? Because that was disrespectful, and I'm gonna voice my opinion. I'm gonna let you know, no matter how big or small it was. It's like I'll pull you to the side, be like, hey, that's disrespectful, right? That's yeah. And I'll I'll actually give a situation like that. And then the last one is not scatterbrained, and this one actually is a double-edged sword, um, because there is um, I guess it's more like the toleration of the scatterbrain. But there is something I can dive into on the scatterbrain part. So, attentive, progressive mindset, word is bond. Now, this is dealing in a relationship. So, your guy, he's all in. That's how a relationship's supposed to be. Unfortunately, usually the guys go all in. Usually, ladies, let's just be real. When you're young, you're in your 20s. Let's just be real, y'all bullshit. You're never single. You're never single. You always have multiple guys contacting you. Yes, and now mind you, some of you only have sex with one guy at a time, and some of you don't. Some of you have sex with multiple guys at a time. But even if you're only having sex with one guy, let's be real, you're still talking and entertaining the company or the attention of numerous men. You're never just talking to your one guy. That actually plays into the scatterbrainness. But when your guy is actually committed to you, he's committed to. Now, I don't want you to get this twisted. When he's committed to you, let's just be real, he's committed to his purpose first. You should not occupy the majority of his brain, especially a young guy. And this was me when I was younger. Now, ideally, you do recognize the risk here. You're dating on potential. That is a risky business, and I'm just letting y'all know. Just know, yeah, you're dating on potential. So I just want to put that out there. Yes, it can be a big reward because, mind you, you can be one of them chicks like Jeff Bezos' wife. He was there from the jump. Therefore, yeah, she was entitled to that half that she got. Absolutely. But at the same time, just know that you can also go bust. Let's just be real, okay? So dating on potential. And ladies today, y'all aren't good at judging character, mostly because you're narcissistic and you don't really care about yourself and what you can get. So you don't really care about as much as some of the qualities of the men you deal with. More so, you care about what you can get out of it. Now, attentive, progressive mindset, word is bond. Now, here's some of the things I will say that I did in my relationship. I think my ex will also agree. I paid attention to the small details, the small things, the little things. And this was like stuff when I was younger, when I was in college. So this was like 17, 18, 19, 20-year-old me. And mind you, that age of me, I wasn't in the workforce. Well, I was in the workforce, but my career wasn't taking off like that. I was still in college. I was still trying to figure things out. And I had a girl at the time. My current ex. I was dealing with her. Things were going good. It was going through that whole, great phase of our relationship. And mind you, I did have a part of me was on that I want to be the best man I can be, the best boyfriend, the best all that stuff. That's that mindset. At the same time, I knew like, okay, there's boundaries. You know, you're not gonna disrespect me. You're not gonna exploit and use me like that. I knew to be wary of that. Thanks to my mom mostly. I witnessed her do that. So unlike most guys, I witnessed and understood the nature to an extent of women, right? So I knew like, okay, y'all ain't all angels. I was privy to the lying and all that, the deceptiveness, but I was aware, right? So I was like, okay, I'm going all out. It's all or nothing with me. That's just how it is. I'm also add that to the list as well, to the positives. It's all or nothing. Ain't no half-assing for me. Like, no, if we're gonna be in this, like, let's just be real. I'm all in. Like, for real, for real. Even if I got multiple girls, I'm all in with all of y'all. If I got 2, 3 girlfriends, whatever it is, in the future, that's probably how it's gonna be from now on. Learn my lesson. But I'm like, hey, and when I say learn my lesson, I mean I learned my lesson about monogamy. Let's be real. Today, it doesn't work like that. So I'm all in. Absolutely, I'm not half-assing anything. It's, and that's the shame about my relationship because as I was dealing with my ex, there was some disrespect, there was some mess ups, and there was exploitation. And one thing I didn't like was the fact that as our relationship went on at that point, as I was being exploited in a way, and the effort wasn't there on her end, I was, like I said, it's all or nothing with me, and I had to start drawing back because it's like, okay, at the beginning the effort was 110% for both of us, and then I noticed, okay, the reciprocation was lacking, and I was putting in 110%, she was putting in 80%. And as it progressed, I learned, okay, now she's only putting in 50%. And then that's when I was like, okay, I need to pull back. And for example, there was a point when after I think she had graduated or something like that, and we lived separately for a while, and I was across town. It was a bit of a drive. So when she would come through to see me, she didn't have money like that. Okay, cool. I'd fill up her gas tank, right? I'd fill up her gas tank specifically so she would drive that beat up old Lexus she had to come see me, right? Well, of course, one, the Lexus wasn't great on gas, and it actually had a lot of issues that contributed to that. But at the same time, say I filled up her gas tank on Tuesday, there was this thing where she would take it for granted. So, mind you, there were times where I would contact her, hey, come through. And she'd be like, oh, I don't have enough gas and all that shit, right? And that's why I would contribute to the gas tank. For me at the time, I had like 3, 4 jobs. I had the money. I could, do that. She was my lady. She was my chick at the time, of course, like I said. And I was like, hey, you're my woman. I want you to come through. I want you to be able to come see me when all that stuff. And of course, I was busy a lot, and she come through, right? So it would, I would contribute to the gas tank for her to do that, right? That's the least I could do if I wasn't going to see her. So then there was that bit of entitlement on her end where I would fill up her gas tank on, like, say, a Tuesday, and then I'd be like, hey, come through on a Wednesday. And she started doing this thing where it's like, oh, well, I'm kind of low on gas. I'm like, the fuck you mean you low on gas? I literally just filled your gas tank up yesterday. And then I would remember, she was telling me all the shit she was doing. She was running around with her friends yesterday. So she was driving all around town with her friends after I filled up her gas tank. Okay, Foreman, hey, all right. Then it kept happening. I'd call her up, say, hey, what you up to? Oh, I'm over here at my so-and-so's house. Now, mind you, so-and-so's house is her friend or whatever. Her friend's on the other side of town, opposite of me. So I'm like, okay, that's a bit of a drive. Hey, can you come through? Oh, I'm kind of low on gas. I just filled your gas tank up 2 days ago. Why are you doing all this driving, unnecessary driving around? If you get what I'm putting down. So then I learned, okay, this bitch just exploit me now. So I had to sit down and talk to her. I said, yeah, from now on, I'm done with the whole gas tank thing. I'm not giving you shit. Don't ask me for nothing. And I had to do that. I had to do that because she was exploiting me. And one of the reasons I don't like that is because it's all or nothing. And I had to slow. That was an example of me having to pull back and, in a way, reduce my efforts and or the benefits that she had dealing with me, because I was more than willing to do it. It's just it got to the point where she was exploiting me. She wasn't using the gas to come see me as was the reason I was filling up her gas tank, and I told her as much. No, she was using to go see her other friends and to go see her family, and go hang out and do dumb shit. Not even to go to work, just to go do dumb shit on my dime. Because none of these other people were filling up her damn gas tank. I was. So then I said, you know what? Fuck that. I'm not doing it anymore. And slowly but surely, as the relationship went on, eventually I found out some other shit, of course, and I had to break it off with her. But I was withdrawing. So then my effort went from 110% to 100% to 80%, because I wasn't receiving the same reciprocation. And I didn't like that. I didn't like that at all. I didn't like the fact that I had to alter the way I moved because I was being exploited in the situation. I know hindsight 2020, I should have just dropped her and left it where it was. I should have. That's what I should have done. But I was young. I wasn't there yet. I didn't have everything figured out. Right. I was still learning. The attentiveness and all that, the progressive mindset also goes into what I was willing to do for my woman. Because if you're gonna fuck with me, I'm gonna make sure you're good. I'm gonna make sure you're right. As a matter of fact, when I say progressive mindset, I'm gonna make sure you're progressing along with me. Now, she graduated before me. I still had another year or two. She graduated before me, so she was supposed to be entering the workforce. She remembers this story, if she's watching this. She was looking. Now, mind you, she graduated with an English degree, and she's looking at jobs to go to like grocery stores and shit. And me being me at the time, I don't bullshit. I don't beat around the bush. I sat her down and I was like, she even, remembers this story. She told me about this. She reminded me of this. But I sat her, and mind you, some of the stuff she would tell me or remind me. And mind you, this is just me, just being me. So I don't remember everything. Like, she told me some stuff I would do, and I was like, that does sound like me. That does sound like something I would do. But it was like I don't remember everything, because a lot of the stuff was minor, and also some of it might not have been true, to be honest, because she does gaslight. But I'm like, okay, that does sound like me. That doesn't sound like me. But this was just one of the things of just me being me. And I sat her down, and I was literally just like, what the fuck are you doing? And I remember I specifically said it like that. And she was like, what do you mean? And I was like, what the fuck are you doing? Like, you graduated, you got an English degree. Why the fuck are you looking for jobs to work at a damn grocery store? You were doing that before you graduated. What the fuck was the point of getting this degree, graduating college, just for you to go and get a goddamn job, just work at a damn grocery store? Which is actually what I remember seeing that one chick that I went to school with ran into her at a grocery store. Ironically, I work for the same grocery store chain, but I make significantly more money, as a truck driver. But I was like, what are you doing? Like, no, like, this ain't the move. Like, you're graduated. You have the potential to out earn me. And I wasn't thinking of, now I knew the danger of the woman out earning the man. I knew the danger of that. But I wasn't thinking of being selfish. I'm saying like, hey, like, I know you're capable of more. And this plays into that whole progressive mindset and the attentiveness. And if I were to blend those together, one thing I could say for the partner that I was dealing with at the time was my ability to see the potential in you. I saw a lot of potential in my ex, and I wanted her to realize that potential. because I hate it when I see people that have a lot of potential. Like, hey, like if we just tweak this, if we just get you moving in this certain direction, you could be killing the game. And at the time, I was like, hey, she was a very fast reader. That's actually one of the reasons I loved her, was because she could read. I talked about how I was dyslexic. I, mind you, I could read. I'm not illiterate. It's just I didn't like reading for enjoyment. She did, and I saw that quality. And me being me, I was thinking well far in advance, and that was a quality I could see in my future wife because I wanted someone like that to read to my children, right? So that's how that fit in that picture. And I was already foreseeing some of those qualities. Now, mind you, I wasn't thinking like, oh, you know, I'm all in on marriage and all that stuff. No, I'm saying this could be, like I said, I was still dating and testing the waters. I wasn't engaged to her or anything at the time. I was, if I would actually really say it, what I was really doing was I was building my woman. Like, if now that I look back on it, as I was like molding her, I was like, yeah, I was actually molding her into my woman. That's literally what I was doing all throughout college, even after. And that's really one of the reasons why I was okay taking the risk of the marriage. It was because like I look back and I was like, wow, I really did mold her into my woman. And one of the things I was like, I thought it would work out was because like I did all this molding on her. She took to it. She did the work. She got into the career path and everything that I influenced her to get into. She's good at it. I knew she would be good at it. Therapy. But I was like, it's like I could see some issues, and I was just like, okay, if we can just get over this hump. And come to find out that that hump was just, I don't know, that hump was not going nowhere. It just got, it wasn't, it couldn't be overcome, unfortunately. There were some red flags that I did overlook willingly, some of them willingly. Others of them I didn't know how severe they were and why they were so severe. I learned later, of course. But I thought, that was just like, I wasn't looking for perfect. I knew there wouldn't be such thing as perfect, especially when you're dealing in the Black community. Most of us are single mother raised, broken families, all that kind of nonsense, right? But I was looking for someone to be like, hey, we're going to do this our way, the right way. And when I say our way, I had it mapped out how I was going to do things. I let her know from the jump what the plan was. But going back to the progressive mindset, when it came to that job, I went on a bit of a tangent there, sorry. But I pretty much told her like, hey, like you could be going in this career path. So I named out some career paths she could have got into. She would have been an excellent, because she was good at reading and stuff. And I did my own little digging and research into some career paths she could get into. And I was like, you'd be an excellent paralegal. You read very fast. She's a very fast reader. I mean, freakishly fast. And I'm like, yeah, you would be a fucking amazing paralegal. And I was like, that would be great. And I'm looking into stuff where she could earn money. But on the back end, and this goes into the attentiveness, and this goes into why I was really committed to my partner, was because I wanted to see her succeed. I wanted to see her fulfilled. Although I knew like, hey, I'm going to do what I had no concerns about it. I knew if she would have gotten to that stuff, she would have eventually started out earning more than me because, like I said, I was still in college. So, yeah, she would have been earning more than me, but I had no concern about that. I'm going to take that challenge. I don't care how many fucking jobs I had to work. Now, mind you, I was earning more than her just because I was working more jobs. You can't work full-time while you're a full-time student. So I had like 3 or 4 part-time jobs and a work study, right? So I was making ends meet that way. I was out earning her that way. But I knew like eventually if she were to get into these career paths, in the beginning, she would out earn me. And I wasn't really concerned about that because I knew my work ethic and everything. And I kind of would take that as a challenge. Like, okay, you're not going to outdo me, period. I'm like, and that's just how it is. Not so much like, in a way, it's like that's that competitiveness in me. But it's not like competitive as in like I'm trying to beat her because, I don't want her to win. It's more so like you're not going to outdo me. Lead by example. That was my mindset at the time, right? So in a way, I was kind of raising the bar for myself in a way, because I wasn't even really. I knew there was that concern. I was like, okay, yeah, she is going to out earn me if she does this, but you know what? Fuck it. I'm just going to have to do more. And that was my mindset at the time, so I wasn't concerned about that. I was like, hey, I'm gonna have to do more. You can probably add that to the list of positives. Rise to the challenge, right? That rise to the challenge mentality. So, and this benefited our relationship because I'm trying to get her on a higher page, and then therefore that raised the bar for me. Now I have to, in order for me to lead by example, now I got to outdo that. No excuses. I don't give a shit. So what? I'm in college. Nigga work 4 more jobs. I don't give a shit. You're not gonna outdo me. That was my mindset. I got to lead by example, right? But in addition to like getting her in a career path where I knew she would perform excellent, there was also that part of me where she had the dream of wanting to write. She loved writing, and I wanted to see her fulfill that dream. As a matter of fact, as we were going through the issues we were going through in the last 2 years, 2.5 years, and through the marriage, the entirety of the marriage, actually, I was still trying. Now, mind you, she eventually got into therapy, and that was due to me because she actually served under me as I was the president of my college's student organization, exercise science. She got into therapy because of some of the stuff. She was my secretary, so she worked under me, you know, in the student organization. Actually, I recruited her. I was like, hey, I'm going to do student organization. I would really like it if, you were my, I mean, you're already my chick. You know how I am. Of course, like I said, she was fast reader. She was competent writer, all that stuff. So I was like, yeah, I could use your, I could benefit from having you as my secretary. So she became my secretary. We did the little events and all that stuff. I think we did that for like 2 years. And, eventually, I passed the reign on to the next person. But yeah, so she worked under me as well. So, there's that. But I knew she had that dream of writing, and I would get her gifts like notepads and stuff like that, and I would kind of, you know, every now and then check up on like, hey, what's the last thing you've written? And it got to the point where we were going through our issues, she wasn't writing, and I knew that, and I was like, okay, I know you love writing, and I was like, and that's how you know, ladies, like your guy is really into you because as I was working myself to death trying to realize my dreams of building and everything like that, I was still making sure I didn't lose sight of her and her dreams as well. I don't care how bad it got, because remember, I'm all or nothing. So yeah, I could see she was slacking a bit, but we had already. Well, of course, she was going through the hot and cold thing, but and this is before I realized that. But I was still like, okay, I'm still gonna do what I gotta do, and lead by example, and then hopefully that'll sprinkle onto her because apparently she's going through a down. Which there are ups and downs. It's just unfortunately that I didn't realize that this down was different and for different reasons. It was manufactured down. It wasn't oh, it's just an upper and a downer moment. No, this was like I do believe that there were people interfering with our relationship as well. Some outside input and bullshit. But I thought it was just one of those ups and downs. Like, okay, she's going through a thing. She hadn't written in a while, and I was like, hey, I think for her birthday or something like that, I got her some writing stuff. I told her, hey, I'll watch, the little one. You just go and get your inspiration somewhere, because as writers, um, sometimes they go sit in quiet or something like that, or you go walk in a park. I don't give a shit. Whatever you got to do, just go take some time. I'll watch the little one for a day or so in a week, and go find some inspiration. Go write something. Go do that. And I was just doing that because I was like, I know that was something she told me. That was something I remember. That was me being attentive. Remember, attention to detail. Hey, you love writing. When's the last time you wrote something? You haven't read to me in a while, because she would write, short stories and stuff like that when she was in college. And it had been a while since she had done that. And I was like, hey, what's the last story you wrote? And in a way, I was kind of, nudging her to like, hey, did you finish that other story? Did you ever finish that other story? Because I knew that was something she was into, and I really wanted her to, um, I wanted her to win. I knew that I was going to do what I had to do, but that was just how it was, man. Like, if you're gonna rock with me, if we were gonna be all in together as I thought we were, um, I'm gonna make sure you win too. Yes, you're my wife. You got to do your duty as my wife. But let's just be real. I'm gonna make sure my wife wins. I know you had dreams and aspirations. That's not going to go, unheard. And that's one of the things that I hear with a lot of women. It's like that fear is like they think that they're just supposed to devote themselves to their husband. I'm like, yeah, of course you are, because he's doing the same too. He's willing to fucking die for you. Yes. In order for y'all to succeed, yes, he's willing to work harder than you are. He's willing to really, literally work himself to death for you. Because ain't shit easy. Especially not today financially. Like, yeah, you gotta get out there and get it. Period. It's not gonna be easy. That's it. And then eventually, when you get to the point, which takes discipline, which takes sacrifice, when you get to the point, then you can start expanding out to that thing. That's why when I was suggesting she get into the paralegal and stuff, all in all, I knew eventually I would get back to, hey, well, what have you been doing on the writing side? So now she was going to be earning more income, where we were at a point where we weren't struggling. But at the same time, okay, yeah, there's hobbies. Everybody has hobbies. Everybody has things they do. And then I was going to work from there. Okay, if she would have gone to the paralegal thing, I was like, okay, cool, you're making more money. You're a paralegal now. You're doing your thing. Hey, what have you written lately? I still would have done the same thing. That was actually the plan. That's actually what I planned on doing. It's just at the time I was thinking, okay, hey, we need to get you, in a fulfilling career path, which in a way, paralegal, in a way could have worked. But eventually she settled on therapy. Okay, cool. And then I was like, okay, let's look into all that stuff. I, helped her through that process. She got to therapy. That's what she's currently doing. Cool. What have you written lately? I didn't forget that. I didn't forget what she told me, the things she loved, the things she liked. And, I didn't forget that. Yes, she told me about her wanting to go get her master's and everything. I had already mapped out how things were supposed to go. I didn't necessarily tell her everything because I wasn't certain how the path was, and of course the path got adjusted when she got pregnant, of course. But I was like, all the while, I already anticipated that she would replace her professors. She would probably be like the top 10% in her field. Like, I was going to make sure she reached her full potential. Period. I was going to make sure that happened. Yeah, you're going to go get that master's degree. Now, mind you, the timeline we had, I was going to be the earner early on, and then her career path was going to be tertiary. Eventually, we would have gotten around to her getting her master's. It's just early on, of course, also considering the fact that she got pregnant with our child earlier than expected. I was doing the working. I was earning the higher income and stuff like that. I was like, okay, this is the play now. And I would have gotten there to the point in about 5 years or so. Okay, now, we got a little freedom. The little one's old enough. She's in school. You got some free time. Okay, now we can go do that master's degree. And you can, work your way up through your career path. Because mind you, I wasn't concerned about, I was always going to, raise to the challenge. I don't care how much she's going to accomplish and earn. Like, I'm going to lead by example. Period. I don't need to hold anybody back. No, actually, no. Why would I hold you back? No, you know what? Go do that. Excel. challenge me. Well, not in a friendly way. And I don't mean like I hate that shit where wives think that they're competing with their husband. I don't mean challenging me like that. No, you go do your thing. Of course, take care of your duties as a wife first, of course, obviously. But you go do that thing. You succeed in your career path, of course, absolutely. But remember, you got obligations the same way I had obligations. I had to sacrifice and be disciplined and do shit, right? You gotta do the same. That was always part of the plan. So, mind you, like, this is for the ladies. Like, yeah, you're gonna have to sacrifice. It's gonna seem like you're letting go of your dreams, but no, that guy's really committed to you. He's gonna remember what you said. He's gonna remember you wanted that house. He's gonna remember you wanted to do writing or singing and stuff like that. Like, yeah, if she was into singing, I would have been like, hey, I would have bought some damn studio time. Hey, go lay down some tracks. What's the song you've been writing? What's the last song you wrote? Yeah, let's go to the studios. I'll get you some studio time. Like, I would have, like, you see what I'm saying? Like, I would have, yeah, do that. Go get fulfilled. And guess what would have motivated me to do that, or be willing to do that, and be willing to go out here and sacrifice more to be able to do that, is you fulfilling your duties as a wife. Because you're so excellent doing that, I can do more on my end. And now I have more leeway where it's like, oh, yeah, all right, I was able to do all this stuff. I had to sacrifice, you had to sacrifice. Okay, now it's the point, like, okay, yeah, let's go do that. Let's go do that thing you really wanted to do. Now's the time, where the sacrificing pays off. You see what I'm saying? That's how it was supposed to go. Unfortunately, it didn't get there. So the attentiveness, the progressive mindset, yes, I want you to do what you got to do in life. Not just myself. Yes, I already knew I was gonna get there. I just had to figure out the income, the financial part, which career path to take. I knew whatever I was going to do, I was going to excel, no matter what it was. That's my work ethic. If I'm gonna do a job, I'm gonna do it right, and for damn sure I'll compete. That's that competitiveness in me. I'm gonna outdo everybody around me. Period. That was my goal. So I was like, I don't care which career path I get into, I'm going to excel. Period. I just had to find the direction. That's all I had to figure out, was which one to go into. Eventually, I got around to trucking. It fit, it fit right in there. But yeah, word is bond. I don't remember ever lying. I don't. I mean, if I ever lied, if my ex can tell me where I lied, or if I said something that wasn't true, by all means, you can post it in the comments or whatever. Please do, because I don't remember ever lying. I don't lie. Now, there's me being diplomatic. I might withhold certain things because I know, okay, this is the time and the place for that, but I'm not going to straight up just lie to somebody. I'm not going to look you in your face and lie. And unfortunately, that's, as I'm learning, that's not always the best way. Like with strangers, sometimes it's best to just kind of go with the flow a bit. Still distance yourself, because I don't like people like that. But I'm not gonna tell somebody, hey, you're a fat slob. Like, you see what I'm saying? Like, I'm not gonna do that in public. I'm just gonna, like, okay, and then move on. Because it's not worth it there, right? But when I'm committed to you, like, hey, like, I see some problems, I see some issues. Say I said I was gonna do something and I don't make it. I'm gonna own that law. I'm gonna own the L. There's no excuses. Like, yeah, I took the L. I learned from it. I'm gonna get it next time. I'm not gonna sit here and lie, make excuses, that kind of thing. When I say I'm gonna do something, I'm gonna do it. Period. That's it. And to be honest, yeah, that did kind of earn me the label of being a bit of an asshole. Yes, I'll own that, because that's what being honest does. Like, when you're too honest, you can be a bit abrasive, because you tell people the truth. Like, yeah, hey, yeah, you handled that wrong. That wasn't right. Hey, you're being a bitch right now. It's not cool. Like, yeah, that's what it is. I wasn't concerned about being nice to people. I was more so concerned, like, I did care about what people thought about me. And that's where I said, like, okay, yeah, I would bite my tongue in times, but I was like, I'm not gonna lie. That was part of that discipline in me, was like, I did not want to lie. Period. I didn't. Like I said, if there was ever a time where I lied, or please, I can't recall a time where I ever like looked my ex in her face and just straight up lied to her. I can't even remember a time where I actually lied to her. Actually, oftentimes I feel like I was very abrasive because I wouldn't lie to her. Like, she would ask me a question and I would answer it honestly, no matter how much I knew the answer might hurt, unfortunately. And I probably, you know, I could have handled it differently, which sometimes I did if I could, but there were some times where it's like, I'm not going to lie. Like, I'm not. Don't tolerate disrespect. Now, this one is one of those things where it's like, okay, yeah, I'm not going to, if something comes off as disrespectful, I'm not backing down. I'm going to, hey, what did you mean when you said that? I'm going to address it. As a matter of fact, there was a situation. Um, this was early in our, relationship back in college. We were at the mall. We were walking around the mall. My chick was on my arm or whatever. I'm not big on holding hands. Now, if you're gonna, grab onto my arm, cool. That's, do you. We were walking around the mall. I think we had got some stuff. I was gonna get her something. I forgot what the reason. Maybe it was her birthday or something. I was gonna get her something. And mind you, all of a sudden, out of nowhere, she like screams in joys. She screams in joy. And I'm like, what the fuck? And then she runs and like jumps in this other nigga's arms. And I'm just kind of standing there like, what the fuck? Now, mind you, this is my chick, right? And she's up here getting all giddy and shit, and then runs and jumps in another nigga's arms. And I'm like, okay. So, oh my bro, she introduced me to him. Apparently, he's one of her friends from fucking high school, whatever, right? Okay, I'm like, yeah, okay, whatever. And then after that situation, I was like, don't do that again. And she's like, what do you mean? I was like, that was fucking disrespectful. And I let her know that, right. Either I let her know right there at the spot, or I let her know like after we left the mall. But I was like, don't do that shit again. That shit was fucking disrespectful. It was like my chick run into some up here screaming, enjoying shit like that, and then you run and jump into some other nigga's arms. Because mind you, this dude was a stranger to me. Like, she ain't say shit to me. She just like, and then ran and jumped in this nigga's arm. I'm like, what the fuck? Didn't know who the fuck this dude was. Whether he was an ex or some shit, which he probably was, to be honest. But I was like, what the fuck? Like, really? That shit was disrespectful as fuck, and I let her know that. Whether or not she heeded that, I know she didn't do that shit again. But at the same time, she probably just brushed it off and thought, no, that was fucking disrespectful. It was, to me, and I let her know that. That was one of those things. It was minor, but at the same time, it was disrespectful. It just was. I had to let her know that. So when I say don't tolerate disrespect, yeah, I'm gonna address something. If something's disrespectful, I'm gonna let it know. Sometimes some people can say and do things that are disrespectful that they don't know, and I'm like, hey, I'm gonna address that. I'm gonna talk about that. So don't tolerate disrespect. That's what that is. Like, yeah, I'm gonna address it if it comes off disrespectful. Like, no, I work too hard for my respect. You're not gonna disrespect me. No, you earn respect. You also earn disrespect. I ain't earn no damn disrespect. I'm not gonna. I don't tolerate that shit. Now, the scatterbrainness, I was always focused when I was younger. I will say that I wasn't. I didn't give. I thought partying was stupid. I didn't see the benefit in it. I didn't like messing around with hoes and dumb people. Dumb bitches too. So one of the things with being scatterbrained is, well, in contrast, it's different with guys and girls. Now with ladies, I'm just gonna come out and be honest with you. Most of the time, y'all with scatterbrain, if you're real forgetful, you're always losing your keys and shit like that. From experience, what I learned is, of course, we already know that women are never single, so they're always dealing with multiple guys, always. And one of the things when it comes to being so scatterbrained is when you have multiple suitors and you claim that you're committed to one guy, but you have like two or three other guys that you're also interested in. So you're kind of like trying to string them all along, and some of that scatterbrainness comes from you living like secret lives. And when I say secret lives, I mean when I say like, okay, you have a husband, but you also have a boyfriend, and you also have a boo. You see what I'm saying? You're scatterbrained because you're juggling all of this at the same time. Whereas if you were committed solely to your husband, as you're supposed to be, same way he's solely committed to his purpose and you and the family, that scatterbrainness wouldn't be there because you'd solely be committed to him. You'd actually remember the things he told you. He wouldn't actually have to keep repeating himself or telling you stuff and retelling you stuff. He's like, hey, didn't I just tell you this? Like, of course, that's also a sign of contempt. But then again, if she has a boyfriend and a boo, let's just be real, that's the utmost disrespect and contempt, sign of contempt right there. But yeah, that's scatterbrainness when it comes to females. Now, the scatterbrainness when it comes to guys is like the job hopping and multiple career paths and the gig, like he has multiple gigs and all the other shit. Like he's spread out so much, and he's trying to do that jack of all trades bullshit. He's not actually becoming excellent at anything. That's how it comes out with the guys. So a lot of times when that guy's committed, he's not scatterbrained. When he's a good guy, when I say good guy, I don't mean nice. That's not what I mean. What I mean is he's a good pick. He's focused. He remembers shit. I remember shit very well. I remember shit she probably thinks I don't remember. Oh no. All those little instances of those little slight disrespects, all that shit. Yeah, I remember all that. I remember it. I tally it all tallied together because remind you, I have to be sensitive. It's live or die, especially as a black man. You have to be very sensitive. You have to be able to read the room. You have to be sensitive to when somebody's trying to fuck you over, right? Because it's hard. It's hard. It's hard on her. Like you're not giving shit as a black male in America. You have to earn everything. Everybody's trying to take from you. So there's benefits in learning how to spot people that aren't in your best interest. And oftentimes, lady, when your guy is asking you questions, or he's annoyed by some of the dumb questions you ask, and what do I mean by some of the dumb questions she asks? Some of the dumb questions she asks, as in questioning my level of commitment when there's literally no sign that I'm not committed. Meaning, she'll ask something stupid like, do you love me? Mind you, there's no signs, that there's any issues or problems. That this actually comes from that deep-rooted insecurity. At least with my ex, that's where that came from. But it just come out of the blue randomly. Nope, there's no issues, no signs that I'm not in it, right? I've been doing me. I've been all on all cylinders, right? But then all of a sudden, out of the blue, you're questioning my loyalties. Okay, just know that's all right, ladies. Just know that's a red flag. That's a red flag that you might be doing something you're not supposed to be doing. Unrecognized projection, fellas. Remember how I said no woman is actually single? Let's just be real. Most young females, they're going to keep their options open regardless. So I'm just going to tell you right now that, you can try to be committed to a young female, but I'm just going to tell you right now. If her answer to does she have male friends is anything other than no, yeah, just recognize what that means. If she's got guy friends, just understand what that means. she's keeping her options open. Absolutely. There's no such thing as a platonic friend between guys and females. I know this firsthand. As a matter of fact, it's a bit awkward because you women are weird with that entitlement factor. I've had situations with women where I'm not interested. I can be a bit of a flirt, right? But usually, like if I'm not really trying to get with you like that, I keep it at a distance, right? If you're beneficial, which these women that about to talk about were beneficial because they knew something, they had a profession or something like that, or there was some sort of social benefit, right? So, I didn't just keep women around for no reason, right? But they were the women where it's like, okay, yeah, you're female. I do like female company. But I'm not interested in like dating her. And it's this weird thing where it's like when women, okay, they'll try you as if you're interested in them, but when they find out you're not like sexually interested in them, y'all start acting different. And that's actually happened to me a few times where it's like because I wasn't sexually interested in her, then she started acting different. And that's it was weird to me, but at the same time, it's like okay, I kind of have to take it for part of what it was, which was okay. I get, of course, y'all always try to exploit guys. I guess a good deal of them, I'm not even gonna say I guess, a good deal of them, I guess, thought I was a simp and they tried to use me. And I was like, fuck no, I'm not coming helping you move or none of that shit. Yeah, that ain't me. And I guess they took that the wrong way, which I don't give a shit. But yeah, it's like, I mean, no, I'm not your dude. I'm not there. Like, no, you ain't giving me nothing. No, this is strictly what it is. You know, let's leave it at that. But y'all start acting different. And even recently, there were some chicks where it's like, okay, I'm not interested in you. I'm not trying to date right now. I already, voiced that. I'm literally getting out of a serious breakup. I'm not trying to date right now. And I told someone this, a young lady. Now, of course, she was attractive, but I was like, no, I'm not trying to date. She has a child that's literally the same age as my child. Now, I've done play dates, with people where it's like, you take your kids out, so they can play together. I'm like, okay, my daughter, she needs to get out and socialize, and I was looking for something like that where it's like, okay, hey, we can do a little play date where we can get the kids together, something like that. But mind you, I don't just let my daughter around anyone, especially anyone who could have a potentially negative influence on her. And mind you, I made this very clear. Just for play dating, I'm not trying to date. She even said the same thing. She was also getting out of a breakup, right? And like I said, she had a child. She actually has two kids, 2 and 4. My daughter's 4. Like I said, hey, the kids can all play together. Cool. Because I was always looking for like people where it's like, okay, I know this person, you know, I vetted them, and which is leading up to the point. I had told her I was like, hey, before we can do this. Like she was fairly new. I had talked to her a couple times, known her a couple weeks, but I was like, hey, I just want to ask a couple more questions, just kind of vet you out a little bit before, uh, I bring my daughter around you, like because I want to kind of know a bit more about what type of female she was, because she's going to have an influence on my daughter. Um, no matter what happens, even her children, because I hadn't met her kids either. So I didn't know much on that end. And then I guess she took it as in like I was trying to make a move on her. Now, mind you, this is via text message. She gave me her number, and I specifically told her like, hey, like, I'll let you know like when I'm free and we can get the kids together and all this stuff. I literally told her why I was getting her number. I wasn't trying to hit on her or anything like that. But to the fact, she sent me a text message where it's like, oh, I'm not trying to, I'm not interested. I'm not dating. I'm not trying to date you, or I just don't want it to be weird like that. And I'm just like, we already talked about this. Like I already told you, I'm not trying to date. Like I already, like you don't remember. Like I literally texted that back, and I was like, we already talked about this. And then she was trying to text me back, and she's like, yeah, well, I was just trying to make sure, so it just didn't seem awkward or weird. And I'm like, okay, like I already told you, I'm not trying to date. Like it's just for the kids. When I said play date, it was for the kids. Remember, we were talking about the kids, and that's where I was coming from. And I'm gonna leave it at that, like the playdate thing, I'm just gonna shut that all down because I had dealt with this once before where this happened and the chick thought I was trying to hit her on again. And let's just be real, women, when they think that you're sexually interested, they like that. It gives them some type of power. At least they think they have the power over you, because then she can exploit you and get what she wants out of you, which is really what women want to get from guys, especially today. Women just want to exploit guys today. So when you make it clear, like, okay, well, one, I'm a dude, options, and I'm just like, no, I already told you, like, this is strictly just for the kids. I was like, you remember that's what we talked about. I didn't say, because mind you, if I wanted her to come through, like, I would have made it very clear, like, hey, I'm, you know, come through. I'm trying to get at you. I would have made it very clear, but I never whatsoever made any mention sexual anything. It was strictly like we were literally just talking about kids, the schooling and all that. Like that's literally the only conversation we were talking about. And I was like, okay, I'm. So it just got weird, and because I know how this can go, because when I made it very clear, I was like, okay, I already cleared this up. I was like, I'm not trying. I even made this very clear. I'm like, I'm not trying to date right now at all. We just get the kids together, have a little play date, that type of thing. And because of that weird reply she gave, I guess trying to insinuate, I don't know, maybe there was some sort of simp answer where the simp guy is really trying to get at her, and he's like, oh, of course, yeah, 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 yes, mama queen, whatever, goddess lady, I've never been in like that. And I was like, okay, I literally already told you I'm not trying to date. I'm not, no, I'm not interested. So we'll see how things go. Because let's just say I've noticed that, of course, we haven't texted. I haven't texted her. I don't give a shit. But I'm just gonna cut that. I'm gonna leave that where it's at. But yeah, that's a weirdness I will say with women today. Um, if a guy's not sexually interested in y'all, it's like y'all take offense to that, and y'all start acting different. I will note that. Let's just say it like that. Let's leave it at that. Now, because of the type of guy I was, the reason I'm making this is just to talk about some of these things. Is just to put it out there. Like, yes, if your dude is really into you, even some of the subtle signs. My ex was my screensaver on my phone, not because like well, one, she looked good in the picture, but at the same time, hey, like, yeah, it was like a nice constant pick me up. No matter how tough shit got, like I knew what I was coming home to. That was, it was an additional factor as to why I should work just a little bit more, right? Because at the time we didn't have kids at the time, but yeah, we were supposedly all in. This was supposed to be that. She was an extra motivating factor, right? I was gonna get where I'm at regardless, but she was an extra motivating factor, so I could work a little bit more, a little bit harder, right? So yeah, you were a screensaver. She was my screensaver on my phone for a while, until recently, of course. I had no problem with that. Some chicks, some ladies will see my phone and screensaver like, oh, who's that? And I'm like, that's my chick. But yeah, I had no problem with that at all. So these are little subtle signs, like, yeah, he's really committed. He's all in. There's no and if or buts about it. I know she went through my phone a couple times. Cool, go through it. You're not gonna find anything. You can act like you didn't, but yeah, you're not gonna find nothing. That's fine. Just don't project on me if I want to go through your phone and I'm gonna find something. Just don't project onto me. And that was an issue we had in our relationship. Especially if a woman is like, if a woman's excusing you, if she's okay accusing you of cheating, guys, just know that's a red flag. Chances are she's doing that for a reason. Understand the signs of projection, because if she's hell bent on assuming that you're doing something, just know it's probably because she's doing something. Because you could be working like I was, 14 hours a day, 6 days a week, literally had no time to do anything because during the daytime and on my days off, I was with my daughter, spending time with my daughter, literally tracking my phone 24/7. Like I can go back and look at my GPS location. Yet if I'm still being accused or it's assumed that I'm cheating, just know I heard that. I know what that means, right? Remember that attentiveness? Yeah, it can come back and bite you in the ass too. I know what that means because you and I both know that wasn't the case. I didn't have the time nor the energy to do that. But just know if you're willing to assume that, just know there's a reason why you're doing that. And from experience, that is an excuse women give. I've literally had an ex tell me that the reason why she cheated on me was because she assumed, not because she knew, not even because she thought, or not even because she had any type of proof or evidence, which there was none because I'm not a cheater. I did not cheat. But because, oh, I just assumed you were cheating too. That was her excuse. Of course, she tried to change it, but that was her initial excuse. Oh, I cheated because, or I was doing what I was doing because I assumed you were also talking to other people too. Remember what I said about projection, guys. If she's accusing you of something, just don't let that go. It's a red flag. So just a tip to the fellas. I've been on here for an hour. I gotta get the fuck out of here. There's some more. There's a lot of stories. I'll let this go little by little. I'll probably do this. This is a crossover, so I'll probably do like a part 2, part 3, as I get a little bit more here and there. But as always, just heed the warning. Take the advice. Very good business broadcast. Monday, August 28th. The business, I'll probably put it in the description, but watch that video, watch that broadcast from the business. There were 2 very notable callers. You'll know who it was, the 74-year-old male that called in about his situation with his ex-wife, as well as the barber who started his barber business and his situation with his ex-wife. So I will say, go ahead and watch that. Also, the last Patreon as well, that actually was before that, which was this last Saturday, which would have been August the 26th. So if you're on the Patreon, go check that out because that actually also aligns very well. I did call in as well on that one, but on the 28th and the 26th if you have Patreon. So those 2, I will say, some very impactful calls there. They even very heavily aligned with my situation as well. I will say that. That's the thing about truth. When it's just the truth, it's like echoing. It repeats itself because it must be. It simply is that which is. And I like that because I have other people out there who went through the exact same things I'm going through, or have gone through the exact same thing I'm going through, or are going through the exact same things I'm going through. And, it is what it is. So I'm telling my story so someone out there can learn from it. I'm not going to be afraid of telling you where I failed or anything like that. That's actually why I believe the last generation of guys, should have been a little more upfront. I've learned some stuff about my own mother, thanks to my father and my aunt and them. Shout out to y'all for at least being honest with me. I wish y'all would have told me this a little sooner, but at the same time, it's like, I learned stuff about my own parents and, people in my family, right? Because when you lie, you don't have the full story. I talked about this earlier. That's one of the detriments of lying and trying to have this false narrative, like everything was perfect and sunshines and rainbows. It's the exact same concept that comes into play when it comes to social media. Everybody's always posting the perfect. Let me tell you something. This aligns with my ex's best friend, so-called, right? She was one of those chicks who would always post all that happy-go-lucky bullshit about her relationship and stuff. All the while, my ex is telling me how her marriage, as I predicted, was going down the drain. All the while. But she's still posting all this happy-go-lucky bullshit online, all the while her marriage is tumbling into divorce. That type of shit. Where you're portraying something online, and that's social media complex. It's a lie. And because it's a lie, people believe that it's true, and then therefore they project that onto their relationship, and they think that their relationship should be just as perfect. You see what I'm saying? And then now they're trying to live that lie, which we already know it's impossible. And then they get frustrated, and then that's where issues arise, because they believe, hey, that person was able to do it, why can't I do it? And they just didn't put two and two together. The reason why you can't do it is because it's a fucking lie. They're lying. It's not true. It's never been true. Women have always been the same. Always. Marriages and all that stuff has never been perfect. Never. There's always been a little bit of dirt here and there. That's how it's always been. It's just back then it was easier for them to cover up and lie about it because there's no internet trail as there is today. You can't really hide it like you could back then. So yeah, the old heads, they could lie about all the shit that they was doing, all the stuff they got into. But if you lie, let's just be real, you're trying to project that lie onto the current generation. And that frustration when they are not able to, well, one, we can't replicate it because it's a different time. Things aren't the same economically and all that, technologically. The things that we know, we're literally seeing how hoish people are. Shout out to the ladies. We're seeing it. We see it. But just realize this was the same. This has always been the same. The ladies have always been the same, you guys. Women have always been sexually promiscuous throughout all time. Read any historical novel or reference. Yes, they have always been sexually promiscuous. Always. That's how it's always been. Hell, there's a reason why the majority of men haven't procreated, but the majority of females have. This is DNA. This is scientific. Paternity fraud. 30 to 40% of all. Yeah, it's true. That's how it is. Of course, today we can prove it. Back then they couldn't. Yeah, your daddy might not be your granddaddy. Might not really be your granddaddy. Let's just be real. Okay, it is what it is. And the more honest you're able to be, the better outcomes we're able to get, because people are actually able to get to it. They're able to take action honestly. They're able to learn properly. Because when they believe the lies and they get out here and they try to do something and they fail at it, and they're told that they failed because they're not capable of it, I'm a lot more persistent and resilient than most people, and I know that can break dudes. That can really break dudes, and that's the goal, especially for black men. Society's trying to break us. So when this guy gets out here and he's trying to replicate some bullshit that you guys yourselves didn't do or weren't able to do, and he fails, and he's considered less than a man because he wasn't able to accomplish something that literally no one else had to do or was able to do, but you guys are lying and saying that it's possible. You see what I'm saying? No. None of you had to deal with a financial situation like today. None of you. So take this information as it is. Just understand, guys, old dating, old marriage, it's an anachronism. It's outdated. There's a new way of dealing with things. Remember, you got to be more than tactical. You got to be strategic. You have to be able to go with the flow, change up the strategy, move accordingly based on the times, the regulations, the rules, all that. So, thank you for watching, and as always, This is just information. You know what to do with it. Get to it.
Don't let me down, man. If you let me down, I don't know what I'd do.
This is a crossover. Till next time.
お前はもう死んでいる。